Have you ever felt that, precisely at the moment when all your efforts could finally bloom, something invisible inside you broke in silence, when every beat of your heart cried out for greatness? Yet what emerged was a cruelty-tinged fragility. It's not bad luck, it's not lack of training, and it's definitely not weakness. There's something deeper, something more rooted, pulsing beneath the surface of what you call yourself. Something that whispers in the most decisive moments, something the German thinker Nietzsche perceived, and that even today, most of us refuse to face head-on. It doesn't matter if you've practiced for 5 years, 10 years, or half your life. It doesn't matter how much talent you carry, or how firm your daily discipline is. If you don't confront this blind spot, you will always be doomed to collapse when you most need to shine. Every breakdown, every freezing moment at the edge of the abyss is just the bitter repetition of something that stubbornly remains in the shadows of your consciousness. Because the brutal truth is, the greatest adversary has never been the audience, the challenge, or the weight of the moment. The greatest enemy is yourself, trying to bear the unbearable weight of your own existence. When Nietzsche proposed the idea of the eternal recurrence, he wasn't offering a riddle for library philosophers but throwing down a visceral challenge. Could you live your life over and over again, enduring every pain, every mistake, every renunciation? Or would you be swallowed by the repetition of your own cowardice? Stage fright, the fear of the final decision, the judgmental gaze of the world. All of these are mere reflections of the deeper fear. Not being enough for your own life. This is where the secret wound lies, the one no one taught us to heal. Every time you feel your heart freeze, your breath shorten, your vision blur under the world's watchful eyes, it's not the world crushing you. It's your own weight, your own judgment, your own inability to embrace the chaos within. Nietzsche wasn't interested in stroking egos or offering easy escapes. He knew that the only way to access true human power was to walk through the inner hell with no guarantee of salvation at the end. Now, listen carefully. What you most fear losing when performing under pressure, your reputation, your status, your applause, are fragile illusions. They hold no real value. The most devastating loss is only one: abandoning yourself at the very moment you most needed courage. This is the secret that has ruined brilliant minds, silenced leaders before their revolutions, and extinguished embers before they could set the world on fire. Do you want to know what separates those who rise under pressure from those who shatter? It's not technique, it's not luck, it's not talent. It's something rawer, crueler, and more liberating. Something few dare to look at directly. And today, you will look. Not because it's easy, not because you're fully ready, but because there simply is no other choice. If you want to break the invisible cage that keeps you spinning in the same circles, you'll have to face this uncomfortable truth. The secret to performing at your peak under pressure is not eliminating fear, not numbing anxiety, not building a fortress of false certainties. The secret, one that Nietzsche glimpsed like few others, is learning to dance on the edge of your own ruin. To walk toward the abyss, where others see only destruction, with open eyes. To embrace anxiety as an old traveling companion, present at every uncertain step. And no, it's not a path for everyone. It's a barren road, where only those willing to lose everything, image, pride, thirst for approval, can continue. Because only when there is nothing left to protect, when falling is no longer feared, can the true limits of human potential be reached. Staring into your own abyss demands more than ordinary courage. It requires a kind of silent strength that few are willing to cultivate. It's the ability to endure your distorted reflection without looking away, to feel fear without crying for help, to walk forward without any guarantees. When Nietzsche wrote that he who fights with monsters should be careful lest he become a monster, he wasn't just warning against external dangers. He was speaking about the inner war, The silent battle between your own expectations and your most secret limitations. How many times have you prepared exhaustively for a crucial moment, only to be overwhelmed by panic seconds before stepping into it? You knew what to do, you knew how to do it, but something beyond technique paralyzed you. That something is the weight of your own judgment. The fierce self-criticism, the inability to accept that mistakes are an inevitable part of the journey for those who dare. It's like a slow poison, corroding the mind from within, fueled by the idea of unforgivable failure. Now pay attention to something no one ever tells you. The anxiety you feel is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that it matters. It shows how much you care. If you feel nervous before a performance, an interview, a challenge, it's because that moment carries a piece of your dream. The trap lies in trying to eliminate that anxiety, treating it as something shameful, something that must be eradicated. That's impossible, and worse, it's destructive. The true art is in using that raw energy as fuel. You know that feeling of butterflies in your stomach that seems like it's about to knock you down? What if I told you it could be your greatest ally? When you learn to accept that discomfort, to breathe inside it instead of fighting it, you turn what seemed like an enemy into pure power. Anxiety stops being a monster and becomes momentum. Fear stops being a prison and becomes a portal. The greatest performers in the world, on stage, in arenas, or in boardrooms, are not those who feel no fear. They are the ones who walk side by side with it, like holding the hand of an old, grumpy but necessary companion. They don't try to banish fear. They welcome it and keep moving. Picture a ballerina, 28 years old, about to face the most important performance of her life. She knows every step of the choreography. Yet still, minutes before the curtain rises, she feels her palms sweat, her heart race. And instead of fighting it, she smiles softly to herself, closes her eyes, and whispers, "It's just energy wanting to live." And then she dances. Not despite the fear, but with it. This is the true shift that few ever reach. And even fewer manage to sustain. Because it's easy to quit. It's comfortable to blame the environment, the conditions, the audience, the weather, the luck. What's hard is admitting the battle is inside, and that every real leap demands a blind dive into your own emptiness. And you? Are you willing to dive in? If this message is resonating with you, I need to ask you something. Subscribe to the channel right now. Not just to follow the next dives we'll take together, but to be part of a community that's decided to face their own abysses without fear. And more. Tell me in the comments, what was the most intense situation you ever lived through, the one that almost paralyzed you but somehow you pushed through? I'm not looking for generic answers. I want to hear your real story, because maybe, without even knowing it, your story could help someone else who's stuck on the other side of this screen. Your interaction here is more than just a quick "okay" or an automatic emoji. It's your story adding to the whole. And here, every story matters. When you push past your own limits, something silent happens. You shift dimensions. I'm not talking about cheap magic tricks or empty motivational quotes. I'm talking about true internal expansion. The kind no one sees. The kind that doesn't earn immediate applause but changes everything. After you face the storm, you don't return to the starting point. You are someone new, carrying invisible battle scars, but also a strength that shows in your eyes, in the way you breathe, in the calm way you face the world. This transformation is like a scar, a permanent reminder that you survived what once seemed impossible. But here's a detail most people miss. Every time you push through difficulty, your reservoir of courage grows. You start stacking up small, silent victories, brick by brick, until you build an inner fortress so solid that the next storms don't scare you as much anymore. You start to realize that situations don't change to fit you. You change to dance with them. And it's in that awkward, messy, improbable dance that life reveals its true beauty. Not in absolute control, not in the absence of mistakes, but in the graceful stumble, the necessary improvisation, the embraced imperfection. Think of that street performer, juggling at crowded intersections at 35 years old. To most people rushing by, he's just another invisible figure in the chaos of the day. But what they don't see is that every performance is a battle. Against shame, against the fear of judgment, against discouragement. And yet he persists, with a genuine smile and eyes that shine, because he knows the value of his art doesn't depend on immediate recognition. It depends on the truth he pours into every movement. That's what I want to leave deeply planted inside you today. The victory that really matters isn't the one others applaud. It's the one you recognize in the silence of your own soul. And here's one last reflection for you to hold on to. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting despite fear. And authenticity isn't about being perfect. It's about embracing vulnerability. Don't be afraid to fail in front of the world. Be afraid of never having tried. If you felt like this video truly spoke to something deep inside you, I'm inviting you, once again, to be part of this community. Subscribe to the channel right now, but do it like you're making a commitment to yourself. A commitment to grow, to face your fears, to live more fully. This space isn't for perfect people. It's for real people who understand the journey is tough, but still choose to keep walking. And before you go, I want to ask you something special. Share your story with our community in the comments. How did you get here? What did you hear today that really touched you? I want to build a space where we can look at each other's stories and inspire one another. No masks, no filters. Here, every comment is like a new spark being lit. So write, open your heart, not out of obligation, but out of the joy of being part of something bigger than yourself. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. Every battle you fight echoes here too. Let's grow together.